America's prison system. A feared and powerful institution, about to be brought to its knees by one desperate man.
Oh, I don't think our table has any steak sauce.
Touchstone Pictures presents Ernest P. Worrell.
Why are you such a screw-up? I'm just that kind of guy.
He was just a simple man.
The perfect choice. European styling with a decidedly American flair.
Trying to lead a good, clean life. Until he fell in with the wrong crowd. Ended up in jail.
The Hooscow, the Slammer, the Joint, Alcatraz, San Quentin, Sing Sing.
And got sent to the chair.
The hot seat, the dead meat, deep six. It's over, pal. You're out of here, Bob.
All by mistake.
That's not fair.
Burn him. But when they tried to charge him with 10,000 volts of electricity,
Hit the alarm!
Ernest P. Worrell
Electro Man.
took charge.
All in the wrist.
What got you surrounded?
Is this the way you treat your mother? 3, 2, 1.5.
This spring, it's the screen's most magnetic personality
I recommend the lobster.
in the most electrifying Ernest adventure of all.
He's had a real hard day.
Ernest goes to
Yeah, people forget there was a time when Ernest P. Worrell was a worldwide known popular character. I mean, not only did he have the movies by Disney, he was also in a ton of commercials that you saw for various products. He had a TV show in the 80s. Like, there was a point between around 85 and up to his death in 2000 where you just saw Ernest everywhere. Jim Varney made that character into George Walford. I mean, it made him a well-known, popular star. And these movies did make money. I mean, these movies did make money. Disney wouldn't keep making these movies if they weren't making money back then. But, truth be told, I've never really been a fan of the Ernest movies. I think the only one I've actually really liked was Ernest Saves Christmas. But even then, that was mostly because of the actor who played Santa in that movie, Douglas Seal, who you know is Jasmine's father, the Sultan in Aladdin. But other than that, though, most of the Ernest movies, they're pretty much kind of the same movie. I mean, if you like the character of Ernest, if you like the idea of Ernest as in this style of comedy, I think you get a kick out of these movies more than I think most people would. I mean, really, it just depends on your type of comedy. Do you think this type of comedy works for you? Did you like the other Ernest movies? Then probably you're gonna enjoy this movie a lot. I watched it. It's just kind of like, it wasn't the worst, but it's not something I'd watch again. It's one of those movies that's just kind of like, okay, what else do you have? It's just like, there's just really nothing there for me. I mean, like I said, the only one I really liked was Ernest Saves Christmas, but even then it was for everybody but Ernest. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be too harsh on this movie. It's made for an intended audience. They probably got a kick out of this. There's nothing really offensive about it. It's just kind of like, okay, it's the same stuff you've done in the last couple of movies, and I can't blame them for it. If they make money, if people like to see more of them, they're just going to keep making them. So who am I to judge on that? So there you go. That's my thoughts on Ernest Goes to Jail. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is The First Power.
Since the beginning of time, Satan has worked to create the perfect killer. One who kills many without reason. One who cannot be stopped. Today, that man exists. Be warned.
We're just going to go through a very small door here.
Lou Diamond Phillips is hunting a man who kills for the sake of killing. Tracy Griffith might be the only one who can help stop him.
I know where he's going next.
What? Oh. This location fits the pentagram pattern on the map, and my informant says this is where he's going to strike next.
This is the third time in less than 5 years that Logan has been responsible for the death or capture of a serial killer.
See you around, buddy boy.
I doubt it.
Each death makes him stronger.
How did you know where he was going next?
I opened myself up to him. He might have executed his body, but his spirit has been released.
He has the third power. He could be anywhere.
How's the stomach, buddy boy?
He has has the second power.
Hey, cutie.
He could be anyone.
Sister.
Oh, I'm afraid she's not here.
Now, he has the first power.
See you around, buddy boy.
Immortality.
You don't have any idea of what you'll be facing. You can't go on killing forever.
You want to bet?
The first power.
Yeah, this is pretty stupid. I mean, the trailer makes it seem like it's this cool, sadistic, neo-noir type of thriller, but this is really stupid. This is just so stupid. I mean, this guy is, the serial killer is clearly a danger to society, and he should immediately be given the death penalty, but the movie's trying to make you feel like, no, this dude doesn't deserve to die, even though he keeps consistently killing people one after another. It's just like, come on, man. It's just like, they would have killed this guy instantly, but not in this movie. Not in this movie at all. Also, what cop acts like Lou Diamond Phillips in this movie? I mean, you saw the scene where he's, like, pointing at the camera, and it's like, hey, baby, how you doing? It's just like, come on, man, this is supposed to be taken seriously. It's just like, this is so stupid. I mean, I can't really specify anymore. This is a stupid movie. I mean, there's potential here, but it's just not a good movie at all. It's just one of those movies that it's a badly written film. It's a typical generic horror movie with the lazy jump scares, just stupidly written characters all around. There's no smart people in this movie. It's a cheap thrill. It's a cheap thrill that's not even that worth of a thrill at all. It's just a bland, boring film that just doesn't work whatsoever. It's just a terrible movie, man. The first power, completely skip it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie.
Everyone loves Joey Boca.
Joey?
Your husband.
Some people love him to death.
It's been shot in the head.
Oh.
Really?
Kevin Fry.
Got a little headache.
Tracy Ullman.
You're gonna have to shoot him again.
Joan Fowler.
So how come we run meatballs?
River Phoenix.
I was gonna get a Band-Aid.
William Hurt and Keanu Reeves.
Could kill the wrong person.
You should have a 2 bullets in your head.
I love you to death.
3 bullets, 4 bullets.
Rated R. Starts Friday, April 6th at a theater near you.
So this is Lawrence Kasdan's follow-up to The Accidental Tourist. They also did Body Heat, The Big Chill, Silverado, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. I talked about his work before because we did The Accidental Tourist on the first episode of this show. And for a follow-up film, this is not one of his better movies. I mean, with a cast this good, Kevin Kline, Tracy Ullman, Joe Plowright, River Phoenix, William Hurt, Keanu Reeves, you kind of expect a lot more than this, but the writing is just not there. This is just not what you'd expect from this guy. Maybe it's because he didn't write this movie. He's directed it, but he did not write this movie. This is actually based off of an attempted murder that happened in '83 in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where this woman tried to kill her husband, and then she ended up spending 4 years in prison for attempted murder. She was actually released 2 years before this movie came out. And, yeah, like I said before, I think because Lawrence Kasdan had proven at this point that he could be a decent writer, a really good writer, I think if he had more to say in this movie and a chance to write this film, there probably could have been a much better movie here. But as it is, great cast, kind of wasted here. There's not really a whole lot of good funny jokes in here. Just a forgettable movie all around. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is John Waters' big mainstream film debut, which is Crybaby, starring Johnny Depp.
It was a nice, quiet town. Then came Crybaby Walker.
You're a dead man, Walker!
He's not just antisocial.
Rock and roll!
He was born to be bad.
How does it feel to be a juvenile delinquent? Feels good, man. I've never been so happy in my whole life.
Johnny Depp, Crybaby, a film by John Waters, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, April 6th at theaters everywhere.
Maybe mainstream's probably not the best word to describe it, but this movie did have an unusually high opening number of theaters for a John Waters movie, because most of his movies were limited releases, Pink Flamingos, Polyester, Hairspray. None of them really got a huge release when they first came out, but Universal gave this one a big release at the time. I mean, 1,200 theaters in 1990 was huge for that time period. So they had a lot of hope for it, and they had a lot of hope for it because Johnny Depp was coming off of 21 Jump Street at the time. And the movie didn't do well, but it has go on to have a cult following over the years. And it's pure John Waters doing what John Waters does so well. It's a campy, fun, over-the-top movie, a good musical. Johnny Depp is pretty good in this movie. He does a pretty good job here. The music is very well done. The music is done by Patrick Williams. I like Amy Longcrane in this movie. I like the singing. I like Ricky Lake. Tracy Lords is in this movie as well. Iggy Pop is in here. It's just a fun movie. It's a fun, silly, goofy, over-the-top movie. It knows exactly what it's trying to be, and it knows what makes audiences want to come and see this. If they've already seen John Waters' previous movies, they're going to get what they see here. It's a great movie, very fun, underrated movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check out Cry Baby. You will not be disappointed by it. So, on to the next movie.
Try to set him up for drug buy. I got just the girl for him.
Well, I want to meet her first before I okay anybody.
There's a thin line between the woman she is.
If you're trying to make a normal person out of me, the department loses its best female undercover cop.
And the woman she plays.
What do you feel like doing right now?
I feel like getting on a plane and going someplace else. I'd enjoy the ride a lot more if I was traveling first class.
Between the cop she is.
I can never rely on anybody but myself.
And the suspect she becomes.
I think I did a murder.
Did you find the money?
What money?
$1 million.
If the killer dies, we'll never really know what happened, will we?
When fantasy becomes reality.
You just know what you did, Bonnie!
It's easy to lose control.
Hey, want to see a lesser version of Blue Steel? Here's Impulse for you. I mean, it's pretty much Blue Steel, except not as good. Doesn't have the cast to really keep it together. Doesn't have a decent director to keep it together. Even though Teresa Russell, Jeff Fahey, George Zazandra, they're great actors. You can see them in other movies that they do very well. But not when they're given a script like this. This is pretty much just, like I said, Blue Steel, except it doesn't have the thrill factor. It doesn't have the dramatic factor to it that made Blue Steel kind of a pretty good movie. It's just kind of there. It's just one of those movies that Warner Brothers thought maybe it could work as a hit, maybe not, but it was quickly forgotten right away. It didn't even make back its budget, and it's been largely forgotten, probably for good reason. So that's Impulse, just a completely forgettable movie. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is The Cook, the Thief, his wife, and her lover.
Here's your chance to improve your table conversation. Tell Michael you live in a big house and you spend £400 a week on clothes.
I spend £400 a week on clothes.
You eat in the best restaurants.
I eat in the best restaurants.
Georgina, try a little harder, please.
I luckily got the title right, surprisingly. I mean, you would think that this would not be as hard of a title to say, but when you have to say the title, The Cook, the Thief, his wife and her lover, chances are you're gonna get you're gonna get it screwed up at some point. But this is a pretty good movie. I mean, if it's very Kubrick-esque. Peter Greenaway definitely has a lot of vibes from watching Stanley Kubrick movies. You can definitely see his homages in this movie. It's a great black comedy, a great black comedy, a great crime drama, and it is the typical art film. I mean, it does feel like an art film that doesn't. I say that as a bad thing, but here I think it's a good thing because it's a very visually stunning movie. It's a movie that's not afraid to take any pull away from the stoplights. It just keeps going and going. I probably made no sense with that, but it's a movie that's not afraid to just go for it. Go for what it needs to do to accomplish its goal. The actors overall are very good. Richard Bohringer, Michael Gambon, Helen Mirren, Alan Howard, Tim Roth is in this, Kieran Hines. Just a great cast overall. The visuals, like I said, are stunning. The music by Michael Nyman is very good. And it just keeps you invested in what's going on. You want to see how this is all going to pan out in the end, even though it's probably going to end horribly. But it does it keeps your interest all the way through, and that's what a good movie like this should do. It could have been easily pretentious. It could have been very, very artsy-fartsy, but it's none of those things whatsoever. It's a movie that, if you keep with these stories like this, you get the effort that you get what you want at the end. I might be rambling right now, but that's just how I feel about this movie. If you stick with it and give it a chance, you will probably get what you want in the end. That's what I wanted to say from this whole thing. So, yeah, that's The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
I haven't moved in 10 minutes.
Advertising executive Emery Leeson was stressed out.
Hey, I'm on the phone.
Hey, do you mind? People who use car phones annoy other drivers.
Fed up and boiling over.
Let's face it, Steve, you and I lie for a living, and it's not easy for me to digest that.
Until he hit upon a brilliant advertising strategy. The truth.
Paramount Pictures presents The Freak. This movie won't just scare you, it will fuck you up for life.
Jaguar, for men who'd like hand jobs from beautiful women they hardly know. Let's not lie, Steve. Let's level with America. We can't level, you crazy asshole. We're in advertising.
So his company rewarded him by putting him in a mental facility.
Hello, I'm William Holden. Hi, I'm Kathy. Hold me. Please hold me.
Oh, well, I am holding you.
Well, I know it's a female thing. We say it a few times.
Oh.
We're maniacs! Ask the world.
Boom! Yeah!
But now the public is hooked on the honest sell.
This honesty, it's a terrific concept. We don't know much about it. I want to get you on it.
And Emery can barely keep up with the demand. Until he gets a little help.
I'm quite visibly moved.
From some people who can barely keep up with reality.
We know you love him, but if he happens to die, we give you 2 Mercedes and a summer home. Wouldn't that be nice too? John Hancock.
Crazy people.
Now, this is one of those movies that has a clever concept, a funny satirical potential there, and it just really doesn't deliver. I mean, the movie isn't terrible, but it's one of those movies where the premise is a good premise, a good concept, but the execution just doesn't work out. Like, the movie can't decide what direction it wants to go into. Dudley Moore, outside of the Arthur movies and Ted in the late 80s and 90s, really had a hard time finding success the same success that he had with Arthur and Ted. But yeah, this is one of those movies where he tried to keep up, and it just didn't work out. The movie isn't terrible. It has some moments that are legitimately funny. The advertisements they have here are very funny, but the whole thing with the insane asylum and all these characters he meets in there, the concept just doesn't work out as well as it could have been. I feel like there was a lot more potential in this movie than there could have been, with a better writer, a better script. But like I said, it's not a terrible movie, but it's a movie that I'm glad I saw, because I finally saw the trailer years ago, and I finally got to see the movie not too long ago. But I do wish it would have built up more with my expectations with the film. I thought there was a lot more that could have been done with it. But as it is just kind of a mediocre movie, instantly forgettable. Crazy People, kind of a disappointment, but not one of the worst comedies I've ever seen. So, on to the next movie, and that is the sequel, The Gods Must Be Crazy Too.
To create a land as beautiful as Africa, the gods must be inspired. To make animals as wondrous as these, the gods must be thanked. But to bring people like them...
I told you I can't fly! What?
...to a place like this...
gods must be crazy. Out of Africa comes a motion picture of unequaled scope and unbelievable chaos. It's a story of high adventure and intimate drama.
Turn your back.
Stop!
It's an epic tale of war.
Hey, you mustn't do that.
A perilous journey of survival.
Aye.
And a ruthless battle against nature. That will touch you in places you've never been touched before.
Oh, it's your way of greeting. Oh, we do it this way.
Yo. The gods must be crazy, too.
To be honest, I never even saw The Gods Must Be Crazy 1, but, from what I've seen from this trailer and the trailer for the first movie, this is a screwball comedy franchise set in Africa. I think it's Africa. Let me double check here just to make sure. Co-production of South Africa. Okay, so I am getting it right. But, I've seen the trailers. I haven't seen the movie before. I mean, it looks silly. It looks fun. It doesn't look like it's too bad. It doesn't look like it's that bad of a movie. I mean, the first movie had to have been something. If the first movie was a success, that they made a second one. But, yeah. I really don't have a whole lot on this movie. I haven't seen either one of these two movies, but apparently they worked. Apparently the first movie at least worked because they made a sequel, and the sequel does look at least fun. I mean, these movies do look at least fun. I do remember actually knowing these movies existed because I saw a double feature set on DVD when this came out. I think it came out in like mid-2000s, 2004, I think, when Sony had the double feature set. If I can find it cheap somewhere at a good price, maybe I'll definitely check these movies out. I have my curiosity about it. I keep hearing I've never heard so many different things about this movie, but could be worth something. So that's my instant first thoughts on The Gods Must Be Crazy 2. I haven't seen it, so I can't really go deep into that. Nor have I seen our last movie, and that is the drama Vital Signs.
What time is it?
6:30? A list of 30 emergency drugs. Know them by Friday. When's Friday? In about 8 hours.
Ladies and gentlemen, the surgery rotation that I know you've all been waiting for.
What about you, Jenna? You want to be a doctor like your old man?
Sir, when I was 6, I actually thought about becoming one of the Temptations.
You didn't pursue it then?
Positions filled.
There aren't a lot of women surgeons. Surgery takes a lot of dedication.
He takes the surgeon messiah thing a little too far. I mean, he thinks it's good, but I don't think it's worth it. It's worth it.
I figure there's 5 guys seriously in contention for the internship.
Penny.
I've known you since you were 12. You've gotten everything you wanted, including me.
Well, you were easy. You slept with Suzanne?
It was really good.
But it wasn't great.
How about for Suzanne?
See, for Suzanne, I think it was unbelievable.
It was okay. How was it for his? He thought it was incredible.
Really, he's a killer. He's a dean of 3rd year. Dr. Weiler, I thought you'd perform the honors. At least he had the decency to wind up on the floor.
For each of them, there are signs of friendship.
What is your type? You know, the kind of guy you meet, sleep with immediately, carry on a horrible relationship with for 2 or 3 months, then break up with and never speak to again.
Signs of change.
You know that this would be hard.
I knew you'd have to work. I didn't know you'd have to resent me.
I don't like to lose. Kenny may have fired the first shot, but I'm going to win this war. All right, now, people. Now, the tension is so thick in here that I don't know whether to cut it or the patience.
Signs of life. Vital signs.
So this is kind of like, I mean, it kind of feels like a young ER, kind of like there's a young ER meets the Big Chill, kind of. You follow this ensemble group of people. Most of the people are very young, talented actors. Adrian Pasdar, Diane Lane, Laura San Giacomo, Jane Addams, William Devane, Jimmy Smits, Bradley Whitford, Wallace Langham. Good cast to it. I mean, it has a really good cast, but most of them in their early roles. And this director, Marissa Silver, made He Said, She Said, that came out the year later. and actually made a movie that I was really curious about. I never got to see it before. It was called Permanent Record. It's a movie about this high school teenager, the most popular kid in school. He ends up committing suicide. Everyone's trying to figure out why. And I feel like I like more of this director's work than I even let myself think about it, because like she makes these movies that are very interesting, very different, very unusual, outside the norm. Even though this movie in particular looks kind of generic. Like I said, it's like a mix of a youngish ER meets The Big Chill. Like you have this kind of dramedy aspect going on around here. I mean, not to say it's not going to be bad or any. It's not to say it's going to be bad or anything. I should say, it looks like it's gotten some decent reviews. It looks like it's a movie that I'd probably enjoy. Maybe maybe if I can find it on some type of format. I don't even know if it's out on DVD or anything, or Blu-ray. But if I can, I might definitely check it out. It's a movie that has my interest a little bit. Not expecting too much from it, but if I can find it, I'll definitely check it out. So that's my thoughts on Vital Signs just from that trailer.
That's my purse! Stop him! Stop! Somebody please help me!
Go get him! Thank you, officer. That's great, lady.
But you're a cop!
He's got my old bad Sanchez. He's running around playing cop, assaulting and beating people. Police! Drop the guns!
An anonymous, apparently off-duty police officer interrupted a robbery tonight, heroically confronting an armed robber with only bottles of spaghetti sauce.
Stop, Russian! You just shot me! Fired a warning shot and hit you.
Unfortunately, the person he decided to be wants Junior dead.
Hair trigger. Stole my gun, my badge, my teeth.
Now you stay out of crime.
I promise. Police officer. Police!
Miami Blues.
By the way, rest in peace, Fred Ward. This episode actually comes out a couple weeks after his death, and we looked at Tremors a couple of days before his death. So if you want to see that episode, I'll put a card on the corner right here. If you want to check that out. But I saw that movie, did not see this movie, and I might be something I might check out sometime soon. I mean, it looks like a generic movie. The premise basically is Alec Baldwin plays a convict who goes to Miami, and the first thing he does is take the identity of a police officer, and that police officer is Fred Ward, and Baldwin's love interest is Jennifer Jason Leigh. You also got Charles Napier in here, Nora Dunn. I mean, it could be worth something. The reviews on it are actually not that bad, but most of those reviews for this movie are basically for the performances and the stars alone. Some of the funny setups that they have here, but nothing really all that spectacular about it. Kind of a generic script. But, it's got decent reviews on it, so maybe I'll check it out one day. This director, George Armitage, is one of those directors who is not the best director overall, but this is his first movie he's made in 11 years since Hot Rod. And even after this movie, it took him 7 years to make another film, which was Grosse Pointe Blank, which had John Cusack in it. Yeah, John Cusack. I was just making sure that I got that right. And Minnie Driver. And then The Big Bounce, which was 2004. So he doesn't make a whole lot of movies, and can't really say too much about this one. Has some potential, though, so I don't know. Maybe I might check it out someday. On to the next movie, Lisa.
What began as a teenage game became an obsession.
Hi, Guy. You don't remember who I am, do you?
I'm not sure.
You think about it, and I'll call you later.
No, wait.
And now it's about to turn deadly.
Hi, Judy. This is Richard. I'm in your apartment.
Hi, girls. You butt into my room whenever you want. I'm your mother. It's my right.
See, I can tell you have a beautiful mouth by the way you form your words.
Look, just don't let this guy know who you are, whatever you do.
Let's talk about where and when we get to meet.
I'll be wearing a sexy white dress.
The lady in white.
You are not leaving this room except for school. Do you understand me? No phone privileges, know nothing.
Hi, this is Richard. Lisa.
Call the police. You took out my phone.
Hi, this is Richard.
Kid, what did you think was going to happen when you decided to do this? Would I expect anything less from the same man that made Poltergeist 3? No, this seriously is directed by the same man who did Poltergeist 3, and he's not a very good director, as he only did one other movie after this, a TV movie, and that was it for him. But, yeah, this is one of those movies that has the stupid premise that it's so stupid because you can easily see where it could go wrong almost immediately. And naturally, it goes wrong almost immediately. But, well, you got Cheryl Ladd here, you've got Stacey Keenan, who a year later would find better success with Step by Step, a TV series, but yeah, this is rough. This does not look like a good movie whatsoever. It looks like the movie that you can see coming a mile away. You know what's going to happen. You know how it's going to end. Yeah, like, again, what were you thinking when you thought this was a good idea? Like, I don't understand what anybody would have thought of when they thought this would be a good idea, but anyway, that's Lisa, so let's go on ahead and move on to the next movie, which I don't know off the top of my head right now. Martians Go Home.
What are you looking at? What, you never seen a Martian before? All right, you hear Mars, you think exotic. Well, I'll tell you something, it's boring. I mean, I had a girlfriend who was dead for 12 years before I realized she wasn't watching TV. So we decided to visit Earth. You know, half the guys wanted to go to Vegas, and half the guys wanted Hawaii. So we said, what the hell? Let's book the whole planet.
Anita Morris, Margaret Collin, Vic Dunlop, and Barry Sobel.
I may not be that close friend you've been looking for.
Martians Go Home.
So it's basically a much lesser version of Earth Girls Are Easy. I mean, it's pretty much the same concept, except just replace the bird-like alien creatures with just alien creatures, and none of these guys are really all that funny. I saw this whole trailer, and I did not laugh once. It's just like, why are they here? They're here because they want to see the world and all that. This, it turns into like a sex comedy for no reason whatsoever, and it's just like, okay, where are we going with this, guys? It's just like, I mean, if Randy Quaid's the biggest name you have in here, then actually, I take that back. There are a couple of other notable names here. You've got Ronnie Cox, Tim Stack, who would go on to do stuff like Son of the Beach and be on My Name Is Earl. Garrett Graham, Dean Devlin, who would be Roland Emmerich's production partner on many of his movies. Nicky Katt, Troy Evans. So there are some notable names here, but for the time, I think Randy Quaid was probably the biggest name on here. But yeah, the movie just doesn't look that good whatsoever. It looks very cheap. It looks very lackluster. It doesn't look like it has a ton of laughs to it. And it just doesn't look like a good movie whatsoever. And this writer, Charles S. Haas, would actually go on to write a better movie in 1990. We'll get to that when Gremlins 2 comes out. But, yeah, Martians Go Home. This movie should have just gone home and never came back. So, on to the next movie, and that is Why Me?
This is the story of Bruno and Gus.
14, 24, 36. Don't forget.
Thanks, mister.
Sweet kid.
Two mixed-up thieves who never know what they're taking.
Hey, where's my bike?
One night, they thought they were stealing diamonds.
I've been robbed.
Instead, they're stuck with a ruby ring.
You still have it.
And a lot of new friends.
Bruno!
There's a stink coming from you.
No, that's me. I just had Thai food. They said if we didn't get the ring to them, they'd chop our heads off. It's just a deal point.
Hey, open up.
Now they're on the run.
You're dead!
From Turks.
800 years ago, the stone was stolen from Constantinople.
And jerks. Christopher Lambert.
Bruno, you're an idiot.
Christopher Lloyd.
Gus, someday we will start up on a headset.
Why me?
I'll give it this. It has a pretty good cast to it. Christopher Lambert, Christopher Lloyd, J.T. Walsh, Kim Grease, Michael J. Pollard. There is a good cast involved here. It was co-written by David Koepp, directed by the same man who would do Loaded Weapon 1 about 3 years later. I mean, it's got potential. I feel like there is some stuff here that could work, specifically with Lambert and Lloyd. I mean, anytime you put Christopher Lloyd in anything, it automatically moves the movie up a bit. But, I don't know. It could be worth it. Could be not. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot one day. It's not something I'm going to rush out to see, but it definitely does pique my interest. So, that's my thoughts on the Why Me trailer. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie.
Dites pas que vous n'avez pas encore compris. Ou alors c'est parce que vous ne voulez vraiment pas savoir. Bien oui, mademoiselle. J'y étais.
Pretentious, boring French film. Anyway, moving on to the next movie. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I didn't show a whole lot of clips from that trailer. Nothing really caught my attention that I needed to show off to you. So I just got the little bit that I could. So basically what happens in the movie is that this guy who is pretty much a recluse, he's accused of murdering a woman simply because his neighbors think he's strange. So basically it's a Karen or a Mitch situation where the other person, the neighbor isn't very friendly, he doesn't do very much, so they're just like, yeah, let's go ahead and frame it for something he didn't do. I mean, that's pretty much what a Karen and a Mitch does, pretty much, when you really think about it. But I mean, I see decent things about this movie. I see things that say it's actually a pretty good movie, and it's just like, okay, but I know that I'm completely going off the rails with this, but it's just like, it's like, okay, I mean, this movie could be it's probably a lot better than I'm giving it credit for. It's a movie made in it's a French film. Yeah, it's a French crime drama, and I mean, like I said, I'm making fun of it more than I should. The movie actually probably is very good. Has a lot of good reviews to it. It has some pretty decent actors in it. Some good direction. It could actually be pretty good. I'm just making some jokes here. They're not the best jokes, but I gotta do something here to kill some time. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is Chattahoochee.
Halfway around the world, Emmett Foley became a hero. But when he came home, the enemy was himself.
They're starting an investigation.
Gary Oldman, Dennis Hopper, M. Emmett Walsh, Ned Beatty, Pamela Reed, and Academy Award nominee Frances McDormand. He was just looking for a way to change the system. What he found was a reason to live. Chattahoochee.
So this is another one of those post-war dramas. This one taking place with a guy who's been in the Korean War. He wants to commit suicide. He provokes the local police by shooting him, and then they shoot him in the chest. He goes to a Florida hospital. He fights against doctors and staff, terrorizing and torturing patients. Basically, he has mental health problems. And I mean, for a movie like this was made in '89. This is a movie where really, I think, really misses the mark of what it was trying to accomplish here. I mean, you have a movie about a guy who's clearly going through some mental health issues. He's a guy who's been in the Korean War. And you do have to give the movie credit for the research that they went into it, because they did their best to try to make it, to show people what mental health hospitals in the 1970s looks like, because this takes place in the 1970s. And I guess there is a lot of things that did come from this movie. This helped to there was a more legislative reform of mental health issues sweeping the nation, and a lot of cases were brought into light because of this. But I mean, judging by this trailer, though, I feel like they missed the mark here. It feels like they were trying to sell it more as something that it wasn't supposed to be. This movie could have been an early movie that would have shown off the trials and tribulations of people with mental health issues, and like post-war soldiers, and how they go through their trying to get back to normalcy. And you have this guy here who just wants to die, just feels bad about what he did and wants to just end it all. And it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like they missed the mark here. This director, Mick Jackson's actually made a couple of decent movies after this movie came out. The next movie he did was L.A. Story with Steve Martin, which is a great movie, which we'll get into when we get into 91. But I don't know. I mean, this trailer really doesn't look like it's making the right case that it was to say. Like, it has a message that it wants to get off its chest, but it's just not there. So, and it hasn't gotten any decent reviews, so it can't. So, more than likely, it's probably not that good. It's one of those movies that has some good intentions to it that probably didn't meet those expectations, or maybe it's an underrated gem. Maybe there are people out there that probably do appreciate what this movie was trying to do, or I doubt it, but you never know. So that's just my quick assumption on Chattahoochee. I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really go into too much detail on it. It's just I'm just trying to express my thoughts after watching the trailer. It doesn't really look like they didn't have a whole lot there to work with, at least in my opinion.
Okay, it's a boy. That's great.
Well, I look at some employment agencies. I thought I'd try this one in Santa Monica, Guardian Angel.
These references?
Oh, yes. Hi.
Come in.
It's not something to Bill. It's Camille. She's some kind of monster.
She cooks. She cleans. She takes care of the baby. What else does she do?
I ran her over. I hit her full force.
There is no body.
I saw her. She's dead.
There's no evidence that the woman you described ever existed.
So yeah, the villain of this movie wants to feed kids to this tree that comes to life. She worships a tree, and you can pretty much see from the trailer how stupid this movie is. And I think if you saw the Cisco and Ebert review for this, you could pretty much see what they were talking about in that review in this trailer. It's just, it takes a concept that could work for a regular supernatural horror film, but it takes it way too seriously by having a killer tree be the monster in the movie. It's just like, this is a disaster. This is a horrible, horrible movie. So much so that Friedkin wanted to disassociate himself from the release on any way, shape, or form. And in fact, when this aired on cable, the directing credit was named to Alan Von Smithy. Of course, Alan Smithy was a name that directors used back in the day to disallow the movies that they were involved with. But even though the trailer you saw there clearly shows that Friedkin directed this movie. And, this is a pretty bad movie. It's a movie that you can pretty much tell it's bad right from the get-go. It has the typical horror movie tropes. The cops don't believe the cops don't believe the good people. They take the side of the guilty. The bad guys are very stupid. Their concept is, their goal is pretty stupid. The fact that they have to the tree is a villain in a movie that's supposed to be taken seriously. It's just like, what a mess of a movie. It's hard to believe that actually, I take that back. Sam Raimi was actually involved with this movie before he dropped out to do Darkman. Sam Raimi probably could have made this work, because of course he made Evil Dead, but not when you have a director like William Friedkin, and this is supposed to be taken more seriously. But I think I pretty much said all that needs to be said about this movie. The Guardian is pretty bad. It's a movie that's just so bad on so many levels, and you can see why. It's a mess. It's a mess of a movie. Just avoid it like the plague. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is a much different movie than The Guardian. Maybe stupid, but not as stupid as The Guardian, I can tell you that. It's Space Invaders.
For years, scientists have speculated that there was intelligent life in outer space.
Now comes definitive proof that there is no such thing.
Come on, open this baby up. Let's see what she'll do.
Hit it, Blasny!
Now, 5 misguided Martians have landed in Big Bean, Illinois.
Come on, let's kick some Earthling butt.
Looks like you hit something.
On Halloween night.
Prepare to die, Earth scum!
Maybe later. Have fun, boys.
They think they're wearing Halloween costumes.
What a bunch of morons. Perhaps a taste of this death breath.
Perhaps I'll just have to remove those little heads of yours.
And now they're up to their antennas in
What did I step in?
You know how bad that's gonna smell?
trouble.
There are 5 of us and 4 billion of them.
I know you boys.
They're my cousins from California.
I thought you were going 3,000 miles per hour.
There goes my insurance.
They're not really bad. They're just stupid.
Join Captain Bipto.
I said, prepare to die, Earth scum. Prepare to die, Earth scum. Prepare to die, Earth scum. I'm gonna make sure they carve that on your tombstone.
Lieutenant Blasny.
I thought this was a bad idea.
Bullboy, the robot slave. And all their spaced-out friends as they take off on an adventure that's not quite out of this world.
Who taught you to drive, you moron?
Spaced Invaders.
It's hard to believe this is the third Aliens Come to Earth movie that we've looked at on this show so far. We've had Earth Girls Are Easy. Last time around we had Martians Go Home. This one's not quite Earth Girls Are Easy. This one's not quite Martians Go Home. It's kind of right in the middle. It's not a good movie, but it's at least trying. You can at least see the effort being put into this movie. It's not really all that great. It doesn't really have a whole lot there that makes you laugh. I don't think a lot of people, adults, would get into this. This is clearly made more for kids. But unlike Martians Go Home, at least this one actually looks like it's trying to do something. It looks like it's trying to be something different and unique, but it just doesn't quite have that same spark. And this is directed by Patrick Reed Johnson, who would later go on to do what I think is a much better movie for kids, Baby's Day Out. But we'll get to that when we get to 94, when that movie came out. But like I said, you can clearly see that they are trying here. They are trying to at least make something enjoyable here, but I don't think it doesn't quite work. You can still see that they're trying to copy a little bit of Beetlejuice's success, like the Little Monsters did, where they have like the fast-talking creatures and all that kind of stuff that think they're funny, but the writing is just not that good. It's a very tough act to follow. I mean, like, most of these movies that try to copy Beetlejuice did not do so well. Not a lot of them were great successes, but you can at least see in this one, and even in something like Little Monsters, they were at least trying to do something different, but it just didn't quite work in the end. So that's my thoughts on Space Invaders. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Q&A.
Set up. Okay, calm down. We wait right here.
Q&A.
The first case as an assistant district attorney began with my phone call at 3:05 a.m.
Tell us what happened.
I saw him reach. I saw a flash of metal. Gun was with me. I hit him in the head. So I go outside. Another big guy, he pulled his badge. And he said, hey, nobody moves. You got a right to remain silent as long as you can stay on the pin.
Give me a Q&A on this. There's no statute of limitations on murder.
I'm going to bury your boy Brennan there, but legally, I got my proof. So I break a couple of heads.
I mean, you lose control of this jungle, you're finished.
Well, he gets rough sometimes. If you take shortcuts, they'll never hurt us in court.
Suppose Brennan comes up wrong.
Judges and Jew lawyers and the king DAs are raking it in. You take a freaking hamburger and it's goodbye badge, gun, and pension.
You dirty?
You can always out, right?
Not if you're clean.
Get out! Get out right now!
Q&A. Nick Nolte, Timothy Hutton, Armando Santi. A film by Sidney Lumet.
So this is Sidney Lumet's second film he made in the past year, in the past 6 months actually, because Family Business only came out in December of '89, and this came out in April of '90. So I don't know what the story is with this movie. I don't know if it was a movie that was held over or something, production fell behind or something like that, but it's weird to have two movies from the same director come out around the same 6-month period. It also has the same cinematographer, too, so maybe they shot both of these movies at the same time or something. I'm not entirely sure, but does look promising, though. I mean, Nick Nolte, Timothy Hutton, Armand Assante. Looks pretty decent. Heard some good reviews on it. I mean, it could be something worth watching. I haven't seen it before, so I can't really comment too much on it, but trailer definitely looks like it has some potential to it, so maybe I'll check it out one day. Q&A. Another film from Sidney Lumet. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, Zalman King's Wild Orchid.
From the creators of 9.5 Weeks comes the most eagerly awaited film of the year. Enter a world of desperate love and stunning sensuality. Enter the world of Wild Orchid.
Miss Reed, if you're chosen for this position, what would you say if I told you you'd be expected to leave for Rio de Janeiro in the morning?
You're going to make a lot of money, honey. You might as well learn how to enjoy it. It's all play money anyway.
A young woman leaves home for the first time, unaware of the passion awakening within
I
her.
need something for you to wear. Wear it.
A man struggling to unleash his emotions.
You're a strange man.
Curious man.
What if I told you that I had dressed you up and pushed you at him? Just to see if he'd respond to you any differently than he has to me.
I'm not used to women running away from me.
A woman learning to feel from a man who can't touch.
I can't begin to tell you what I'm feeling right now.
You know the rules of the game. And if you didn't want to play, Emily, you wouldn't be here.
In the heat of Brazil, she invites his passion.
We all have to lose ourselves sometime to find ourselves. Don't you think?
In a moment of desire, she touches his soul. Mickey Rourke, Jacqueline Bissett,
Tell him to take off his pants.
and introducing Carrie Otis. Wild Orchid.
I mean, honestly, you could probably call this movie what it really is, which is basically the sequel to 9.5 Weeks. You could have just called it 10 Weeks or 10.5 Weeks, because it's pretty much the same thing as 9.5 Weeks was. It really is. I mean, you have Mickey Rourke playing sort of a similar character to what he did in 9.5 Weeks, and even though this is directed by the writer of that movie, Zalman King, it really does feel like the same movie over again. But unlike 9.5 Weeks, where you actually had some clever writing in there and some interesting ways of filming the sex scenes, this is just basically a generic, cliched erotic thriller. Not even a good one. Like this is a type of movie that people made after Basic Instinct, thinking they're gonna have the next Basic Instinct. This is pretty much like it's the people that think that they're gonna have another 9.5 Weeks type of success, but they don't have the same writing ability or the same acting ability to match that movie. Because Basic Instinct is probably the best erotic thriller of all time. I don't know if I can think of any other ones that could match that movie. But 9.5 Weeks was pretty good too. But Wild Orchid's just kind of like, Wild Orchid kind of feels like one of those softcore movies they used to have on Cinemax at late at night, but they don't do that anymore. That's what that felt like to me, but like nowhere near as good. It's just kind of like, it's just there. It's just there to be like it's not even, it doesn't even have a reason to be there. The acting isn't really all that good. The writing isn't all that good. The visuals are very nice. It's Rio de Janeiro. Of course it's going to look nice, but what's the point? Like, what's the whole point of me coming to this except to be, like, aroused by what's going on screen? It's just like, you gotta give me something more than that. I mean, give me at least something clever or interesting, or an interesting way to put it together or anything like that, but I mean, at least give me something other than that. But yeah, other than that, though, this is not a very good movie. This is a movie that just doesn't have that same spark that 9.5 Weeks did. And like, it didn't get good reviews. It didn't do good business at the box office. And yet they made another sequel to it the year later. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it with this movie. So That's Wild Orchid. I don't get it, but apparently somebody liked it to make another movie. But we'll get to that one when we get to that one in the next year.